Hey everybody, it's Book with Katherine. I hope you are doing well and this video finds you well, and I think it's time for a very, very big update. There is so much that's happened since I've last talked to you, and it's been very difficult to talk to you. So let's talk. I know when I used to follow other channels, there's any kind of a gap, I was like, what's going on? But the person themselves just got busier and they felt like they were out actually amongst you more, because they were finally able to get out more. So, and I felt the exact same way. I felt like I was finally able to be in contact with you more because I'm finally able to write my book. I'm finally getting out of the house more. And then I'm like, shoot, like I'm not able to be online more. And so I was on Twitter more. So I have been actually on Twitter a whole lot more. Like I've been tweeting a ton of stuff. So if you're not with me on Twitter, then follow me on Twitter. I have been, oh my gosh, doing so much on there. So anyway, getting on to the health stuff, however, there's so much to share with you, and a lot has happened, and a lot of it is the reason that I haven't been actually filming as much, because I haven't been vertical as much. I've been horizontal a lot more, and I want to share that with you because I know that you can learn from it. I really, really hope it helps you. My journey has been so different, and I'm learning why that is. So many different things have been going on with me. I'm learning that a lot of you guys, it's usually only one thing. I really hope to heavens that it's not as many things as it is with me. I know that I'm an unusual case. So hopefully, because it's so many things with me, it means that that my multiple stories will help a multiple amount of people, if that makes sense. So anyway, and for those of you that it is complicated, where it is multiple things, maybe go find that out, because we go to doctors and they think it's going to be one thing, and it turns out to be multiple things. Like, let me give you an example. One of the things that we figured out, remember how we did my SI joint like about a year and a half ago, and now that is wearing off, and that's why I'm a lot more horizontal now. But what we're noticing now that my weight is way, way down, and now that we've had my ganglion impar, which is the whole lower part of my spine, which is my waist down, now that that's taken out, the two SI joints, the inflammation that was coming from my lower spine, and the weight that used to be on my two SI joints, my sacroiliac joints. So the weight that was coming down from my body, and I have an extremely small waist. Like if you know anything about waist size, like I have a 34 rib cage, like literally a 34. That's super, super small. And unfortunately, my breast size, for you guys who know breasts, are extremely large. People think that I'm like, they see my shoulder size here on the video, and then they see me in person and they think I'm this huge woman. It's just because of my girl size. And that's something that people, especially young women, need to understand when they think about getting breast augmentation. Nobody talks about how painful it is. In fact, like when I was really, really young, like 14, 15, and 16, the doctors were recommending that I actually get a breast augmentation down. And I'm sitting here, you know, at an older age in life going, I should have listened to them, because this is exactly some of the issues that I'm having are in this rib cage area, with a muscle that attaches at my lower rib cage. It's dysfunctioning. It wraps all the way down. I didn't know this. There's an actual muscle, the sacroiliac joint or something. It actually attaches from your lower rib cage. It attacks at your lower rib cage, and it travels all the way through your SI joint, all the way down in between your hips to your inner thigh, to your, lady parts, all the way in there. And so as it dysfunctions, that's why I can't reach my arm out. Like when I can't reach my right arm out, when I said one of my videos, I said, look, I'm so disabled that there are times I can't even reach the soda across from me. I said, I actually need someone in a home. Like I really need home care. I can't even reach the drink across from me. Now we're realizing that's because this is possible, that it's because this muscle is dysfunctioning at such a high dysfunction level. And the reason the SI joint thing worked is because we were putting so much pressure on those SI joints with all the weight, and probably the accident that nailed me from the side and took out my legs. My head went right through the window and took out my legs. The whole right side of my body is getting it. And the thing is that I know I'm hitting you with a lot of things, and I hope that you follow along with me. I maybe slow the video down. I'm like, there's so much to tell you. And the thing is that the impact, I drove in a car and it went slow motion, and it went into a light pole, and I was in the driver's seat, and it wasn't anything that we did. It was a rainy, rainy day, and there was I think I told you this, there was a car accident every quarter mile. Unfortunately, in California, they don't take care of the roads. I don't know where all the taxes go, but they don't bother taking care of the roads. They let the oil gather in the roads. They never bother cleaning the roads. It's really great on the East Coast because they actually take care of their roads here. It's so nice. The road maintenance here is so, so great on the East Coast. On the West Coast, all the taxes that you pay, which are way more than they pay on the East Coast, they don't take care of the roads. They don't bother because there's no weather out there. So when the weather hits, everything goes to crap. And so the oil slicks just gather up and all the wheels you just spin out. Everybody spins out on the road no matter how slow you go. And unfortunately, we were on an ramp and a road ramp. We were going down a road ramp and the back tires just came out. And it just came out. We went right into a lamp. It just slid, not super fast or anything, but we went right into a light post. And right by my legs, boom, and my head just went right through and it broke. Like it wouldn't have broken otherwise. My head actually broke the actual door side. It was a really, really sturdy model of car because I got really safe cars and it probably saved my life, probably saved my legs. No, I know it did save my legs. Actually, I had some friends that were really into autos at the time. They're like, they saved your legs. Like this car saved your legs. So always invest in cars that are really, really well made. It wasn't a luxury car or anything because I wanted something that well made. That's exactly why we did that. And that paid off for me. It saved my legs. But the whole right side of my body now is dysfunctioning. It's not just this muscle through the SI joint down that's dysfunctioning. Luckily, that's just the only thing now. Like, it's not the only thing, but it's been narrowed down now that we've done all these things on my body. It's this, and then we've narrowed it down. Also, the right side of my body's turning in. So, like, my right hand curls in, and then my right foot curls in. So you guys actually saw that. I posted a picture, and I really didn't want to post that picture of me being like, look, I can stand up. Look, like I'm a ballerina again, I can stand up. And I put off posting that picture for you for months because my right foot wasn't turned out like a ballerina. And I was like, why is my foot just hanging in there? I thought I had turned it out. I hated it. It was just sitting across in front of me. I was like, I don't look like a dancer. What the heck? I'm bothered by that because I'm a dance teacher. I was like, what's my right foot doing right in front of me, hanging like this angle in? And now I understand that. Now I see it hanging across me all the time. My right hand's curled in. The right foot is curled in. It does this curling in. And then when my body gets tired or when something dysfunctions, I start getting this feeling in my head and I actually go into a tremor. And I didn't even catch this. I thought my whole body was going into tremors. I said that I had episodes or shakings or whatever. And because we've been narrowing this down, my friends have been like, take better, like when I'll never forget it. I was on the porch with Lila. She was out there. We were doing a walk. And I haven't been able to actually walk as much anymore. I've been doing a little bit of weights, but not nearly like what I've been able to do because of this dysfunctioning muscle. And so I was sitting on the porch and I started to go into, because I bothered to move, I started to go into one of these things and they said, look down at your body. Which side, are both sides shaking or one side? And I looked down, I couldn't believe it. It was just one side that was shaking. Now, I don't want you guys to freak out because every time I share this stuff, you guys think I'm dying. And I can't explain to you like how freeing all this stuff is. It's as though we live in this Instagram world where we live in the Met Gala world, where we see our friends and our stars and we see everyone in this perfectionist light where all we see is this pretty lipstick. And that's all we see all the time. And I saw this beautiful girl give a talk on, she called it gaslighting. And it was like hearing almost about my reality growing up as a child. And she said somebody that had seen what her childhood led like had said, that they said, I always wondered what would happen to that girl because she would either be murdered or commit suicide. And she said it was a vindication to the fact that I survived that household. And the reason they said that is because the mother always told the daughter that what had happened the night before had not happened. That's gaslighting. When someone always says that the reality around you is not actually reality. When, like, your parent says something horrible to you, like you're a B, calls you the B word. And then 3 weeks later, you're like, I can't believe you called me the B word. And they're like, what? I never did that. How can you possibly say that I did that? Okay, like that is something I grew up with all the time. Like that was my world. If I got upset or if they got angry, they said they were happy. If I got happy, they said I should feel sad. Like if it was literally it was my reality, the things that I saw around me, like whatever I saw around me, the next morning I was told that it was the exact opposite. And it was a very hard thing to ever believe reality around me. And it was incredibly hard to survive. And that's gaslighting. And the girl was doing the talk because she said, we are living in a world where we're constantly being gaslighted. We're constantly being told that what is happening around us isn't actually happening. And I realized that that's really what my channel was about. It's the reason I started my channel in the first place. I said, I'm on YouTube all the time and there's nobody like me. Like, there's nobody like me. Like, there's nobody like me out there. Everyone's perfect. Everyone's selling product. Everyone's putting 3 pounds of makeup on their face. And I'm sick in bed at home going to doctors 12 times a year, you know, and now I'm going 36 times a year. You know, like now I'm almost once a week. I can't even imagine how many times that is a year. 52 times a year, if not more. Like, that is an insane amount of times going to the doctors. I'm like, no one online is like that. And I was like, I know there are others out there because there has to be an audience that's sitting there watching all this stuff, consuming it, right? And I'm just like, there's an audience sitting there at home doing it. And I see everybody at the hospitals, you know, the industry and all the food that we eat and things like that. I know it's feeding us into the hospitals. You see everybody on Dr. Phil. Everybody knows. So all the narcotics, it's like the number one thing. Oxycontin, the prescriptions are insane. And there are people hurting, not able to move, that are on these things. That's reality. But it's not what we're being shown. We're constantly being gaslighted. And so when here I am on YouTube and I'm saying, hey, I'm having body shudders, that's hard for you to hear because you're not really looking around and seeing, you're not looking online. And what you're seeing online all the time is the gaslighting, the stars, and the perfection, and the gorgeous coats. But you're never seeing this. You're not seeing what you see. You're not seeing like the Roseanne show. There is a reason why. Like, I was looking at the ratings. Tucker Carlson's getting like 2.7 million ratings. Real Housewives is getting 2.7 million ratings. Roseanne Barr, that had on normal American family living in a lower income neighborhood, in lower income, have their own house or whatever, weren't wearing Gucci, weren't wearing Prada, didn't have had normal old wallpaper on the back, had 28 million out the gate when it started and moved on to 40 million. There's an incredible audience out there that isn't being reflected. They don't see themselves on TV. Does that make sense? And they were dying for not being gaslighted. Like, they were dying to see themselves on TV. And so when I say like, oh, you know, I'm shaking, it's because you're not having that reflected back in you and you're not used to it, even though it's out there all the time. So me having kind of like an episode like this, it's so shocking that you think, oh my God, she's dying, even though there's like a whole range of things that it could be. And it's probably just a dysfunction. As my doctor said, she said it's probably a conduction disorder. And from what we've looked up and from what we've been looking up and my friends who are doctors and things like that, like I'm going to see a neurologist at the end of this month, it looks like that's what it is from my concussion, which is why I've been posting things about concussions, which is why I say after the ER, you have to go to doctors and you have to get real neurologists for concussions. They don't want you to get treated for concussions because if the thing that it looks like it may be is this thing that appears years later after a severe head injury. And it can be on one side of the body or both sides of the body, but it comes and it goes and it can never go away or whatever, but it comes and it goes. And for mine, it just says it comes in episodes or whatever. Well, when mine comes and it comes on and it goes off, and it comes on and it goes off, and it comes on and it goes off, right? And we were just like, what is going on? Every time I have an episode, it gets bad and then worse, and bad and worse, and bad and worse, and bad and worse, and then it eases off, bad and worse, and eases off. And I've even had it in doctors' offices where they observe it happening. Well, only just this weekend we were observing that it has something to do with this muscle we now know. Well, we were just thinking about it and we were like, well, the bowel muscle actually contracts in this pace. It does every few minutes, it goes contracts, and your bowels do that. Your bowels actually contract. And then after a few minutes, it stops. And then your bowels contract. And I'm like, what the heck? Of course, if they contract and my muscles literally running through that bowel and it's trigger happy, Of course it's going to shake the whole right side of my body. And everyone's been so confused about why the shakes that start on this side of the body would start and then stop and start and then stop and then start and then stop. And of course we have to get this all confirmed by neurologists. But what's been really shocking about all this is that everybody's been approaching this as it must be one thing. And the more and more we get into stuff, the more we find out that, oh, well, actually, this arm isn't living alone. This arm is attached to this, and this thing is attached all the way down here to your butt. And the thing that runs through your butt is actually affecting your ovaries. And when you have a bad, bleeding or whatever and stuff like that, it triggers that entire muscle, which is why you suddenly can't use this right arm, which is why it suddenly triggers this and this thing in your head, like the whole entire 9 yards. For example, this has been really bad lately. Well, I was writing out the book, and I was actually doing an outline, and I wrote really long, found out it triggers this muscle in here, which triggers this down here. You would be amazed at how much something triggered right here. And I was like, of course, it's right at the center. That anything at the center of the body. And I was noticing, I was like, I've told you guys on this video thing, I was like, I can't actually do anything from the center. I can't move. I can't do this. I can't lift. I can walk and I can dance. I can dance from right here. I can dance from right here, right? I can do all of this. I can dance, but I can't do any kind of bending. All makes sense when we know, well, it's because of this thing attached down through the hip. All makes sense. All makes sense that one little muscle is dysfunctioning, and it turns out that you can get that muscle injected. But none of that would have been found out if we hadn't gotten this other procedure done with the 2 SI joints, hadn't gotten the weight down, hadn't gotten the ganglion impar done so that I can actually stand. And so the whole conclusion of that is to say I went to a dance event. Yay! I went to a dance event. I actually sucked it up and went to a dance event. I'm kind of embarrassed to say this, but I actually had to go down in a car bed. I'm like former champion. That's really hard for me to say. Former champion dancer. Well, no, I got standing ovation. No one knows what's happened to me. Like, there are some people, I did announce that my health was really bad, but I have a feeling that people didn't believe. Some people, like the pros, knew she's sick. The students were like, it's got to be something else, right? They all were like, she couldn't just disappeared off the mat. There's no way she's sick. It's hard to think that a pro dancer can get sick. It's really hard when they see you dance and all this stuff to think they can ever get sick. I understand that. They're like, oh, they'll never not walk. They need to see something or whatever. They need to see a deterioration. But I was hiding it really well, and I choreographed around it or whatever. But I mean, even at the end, I shouldn't have been dancing. I was just doing kind of like little performances. All my real dancing isn't even out there on videotape. Like all my champion things that I really were all way before I owned a business and did consulting and everything like that. Like all my super famous performances they're not even out there. So, I kind of like, I kind of went to an event and I didn't tell anyone I was going because I was like, I don't even know if I'm going to be able to get up. But we booked a room and I went in on the car bed, and my husband was really great. And we kind of got in there, and I just put on my sunglasses, and I put on like a big coat. And I put on like a big, I was like I went in and I just kind of like, and I just put on a huge knee brace. And basically knowing about this side and knowing that it'll shake, and we know that this side's shaking, from what we saw, we haven't had it officially diagnosed or anything like that. But so far, everything in it has played out. Now, we've thought it's been other things before, but even those things have helped. Knowing those things, this thing seems to be the closest. But it has certain triggers. Knowing those triggers, we went into the dance event and we were like, okay, go down and do social dancing for this long and then stop it and only do slow songs and then stop it and then go and lay down and rest. And that's exactly what I did. I went down, and I swear to goodness gracious, I went down, wrapped up my knee. I only danced with my husband. My husband is able to hold me up if I can't do it. He can hold me out of there. No one else knows my injuries. No one else knows if my hands start to shake. It's very, very dangerous. Some people get offended today if you only dance with a partner. They don't understand. I know older couples usually dance with only each other. That's a health thing. That ain't a rudeness thing. That's a health thing. I'm like, I've got a knee that needs to be replaced, for heaven's sake. It's doing better now, but it's on the way to being like, they are not doing anything to it now because they said they're waiting for these other things to be fixed. They're too worried because I got a neurological thing going on there. Like, we can't touch the knee anymore. I'm like, great. So I'm so banged up. Please don't be me. Please stay moving. Please stay active. Please never gain more than 10 to 15 pounds. Never do it. Never get hormonal. Never get emotional. Like, just stay reasonable and stay healthy and stay active. Get dancing. Do what you can. Stay swimming. Low impact. Don't bust your knees. So, yeah, anyway, so I got to go out and I ended up dancing like 5 to 20 minute segments. And I did that over and over 3 days to the point that I danced a full hour and a half. And I got a bunch of like rounds of applause and even like standing ovations with my husband, especially at the end, a huge one at the end. I did a salsa at the end and it was absolutely wonderful. So anyway, I just wanted to share that with you. That is my health update. My husband is home and that is a whole lot to dump on you. I really hope you can unpack it all, but I need to go lay down again because this thing is dysfunctioning and I can't push it and we're going to inject it and I'm not supposed to irritate it. Because it can send me into one of these things. I'm not going to die. It's just kind of like a tremor or whatever. But I'm just really excited about the future because if you guys have been following me since the beginning, like these are all answers and like I'm way better. Does that make sense? Like, and I don't know these, it's just answers. I'm feeling way better. I'm not panicked. If you watch my videos and my health updates, there were times that I was just like, what's going on? I felt really scared and I'm just, that's not me anymore. I feel excited about the future. I'm feeling much more secure and hopeful. And I went to a dance convention and I didn't embarrass myself. And I had the same reactions I did when I was a pro dancer. And my doctor who said, I want to make you a pro dancer again. And I didn't believe her. I in my head, I was like, yeah. And I was dedicated to doing what she said. But in my head, I was like, you don't know how I danced. I was just like, you really don't know what I was able to do. And I am not up to that level, but I really didn't think I'd ever get to where I am now. Like, I really didn't think I'd get anywhere close to where I am now. So anyway, I feel very, very lucky. So anyway, I love you guys so much. Have an amazing, amazing week and enjoy my Twitter where I have just been going off. So I am in so much pain and I'm just like, I'm going to say everything I think. Everything I think with no filter. That's the glory of being sick. No filter. Love you guys. Bye. I have another video that I try to film and Lila interrupted it. So that should be up sometime soon if it's not already. Bye.